Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects is one of those weird comic book themed games you hear about that was a weird underdeveloped premise pitched to a publisher that made it halfway through development and then they just kind of gave up on it forever and it never came out. Except it came out! I rarely ever hear anyone have anything to say about this game, positive or negative. I suspect that society has chosen to ignore this game's existence and assume it was just a shared hallucination everyone had at the Hollywood Video in 2005. It's a product of a short-lived and apparently not that great partnership between Marvel and EA that resulted in nothing except this game. Marvel then decided it would much rather work with a different evil corporate entity for easy money later on, though. So it's a beat-em-up, fight-em-up, adventure, spectacle fighter, character action game with Marvel characters and of course the aptly named Imperfects. Back in 2005, I assumed all of these characters were from some kind of edgy Todd McFarlane or Rob Liefeld type comic I had never heard of before, but they were specifically created for this game. I get the feeling the developers working on it had high hopes that these characters would be really well received and immediately get their own comics line following the game. But the best they got was this 2006 miniseries that no one read. Who are the Imperfects, you might ask? Well, you got Waifu Bait, basically Electro, that guy you drew in your notebook in middle school when you went through that phase. Jax, I guess. An Emmy Award. Oh wait, this one's alright, I guess. Yeah, I can see why none of these characters caught on, though. There's nothing pleasant or interesting about them. They're all just edgy, bizarre, or derivative. Which is kind of a shame, because a lot of people had stock in this becoming the next big thing and getting sequels and spin-offs out the wazoo. So half the character roster is pretty bland. Oh god, he's back! No!
You know what we call that? We call that a web-slinging ass-kicking.
This game seemed really hardcore to me as a kid because Spidey said ass. These days you see holy shit and don't even bat an eye. Weird how times change. On the flip side of the roster, we have the marketable characters that were created by more inventive people. But a lot of them seem a little off. These designs are just weird. Like, the Thing has ears? No! That's wrong! And unnatural! Wolverine looks more like his hipstery Ultimate Universe counterpart, just sans the soul patch. Elektra looks, not like Elektra, I'll say that. And what's this? Spider-Man with silver webs on his costume? Who the hell came up with that idea? They're obviously purple in the comics. Now speaking of things that are imperfect, let's get to the gameplay. It immediately reminds me of Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, which came out the same year. It's a third-person 3D fighting game that lets you have full range of movement in the arena and even interact with objects in the environment. The only difference being Shaolin Monks was awesome and had really satisfying and responsive controls. This just feels stiff and slippery. Which is a contradiction, but if you've played it, you know what I mean. Characters slide all over the place like they're on skates, but trying to hit someone is really clunky and slow, often requiring you to come to a dead stop to do it effectively. Or else you'll just start swinging at the air 8 feet to the left of their heads. You have to be very precise about aiming yourself at the enemy, or they're just gonna keep slapping you around like Jason Todd. What? Other people get beaten up than Janet, you know, you sicko. You can unlock characters and arenas by winning matches in the versus mode. Alternatively, you can just turn on the other controller and make the other character kill themselves enough times for the unlocks.
You thought you could defeat me?
Psh, that's it? That's lame. I could do a better Venom voice than that.
Game over.
The controls are a little awkward and I really wish I could rebind all the buttons. Pressing Y to block and trigger to do the strong attacks just feels wrong. Eventually though, like any game with strange controls, you start to get used to it. The enemy AI is generally pretty tough, but they have a tendency to do dumb shit like get stuck on walls or throw themselves off buildings like they just saw a Fantastic Four movie, which this game seems partially influenced by.
Flame on!
Hey, Johnny Storm! How's it hanging, buddy? Sorry about your sister and brother-in-law disappearing forever into the multiverse to never be seen again. That must be rough, but hey, don't worry about the Baxter building. I bought it so I can turn it into an office building for my multi-million-dollar company that's also going bankrupt. So, I don't know what'll happen to it. And if you're worried about the Fantastic car, Deadpool bought it and is using it as a party bus for his mercenary gig. I know you have a lot of memories in that thing, but I wouldn't ask for it back. It's probably pretty rank in there now. You know, he's a gross guy. But hey, you can make new memories with the Avengers team you just joined that broke up because the leader was secretly a Nazi clone. I bet you're wondering about your old nemesis, Dr. Doom. Well, he's Iron Man now, so, you know, I mean, karma is kind of a myth at this point. Wow, this conversation got dark. I'm probably not helping. I'm just gonna go. Alright, see ya. Tell Franklin I said hi. Oh wait, your nephew's missing too. Yikes. So anyway, this game's pretty tough until you master the art of throwing objects at the enemy from a distance and then stun-locking them with long-ranged attacks. Once you start laming it out, this game's a cakewalk. I spoke too soon. Okay, even being lame doesn't make this game any easier. It's just a pain in the ass either way. I look at this as one of those games you don't play for fun, you play it to tell your friends that you beat it even though they don't care. It's like clocking in at work. Well, gotta get those storm missions done today. The arenas you fight in are usually pretty ugly to look at, either with lazy backgrounds, a black and barf color scheme, or some combination thereof. It's never a good sign when the gameplay is tedious, the graphics are ugly and unfinished looking, and the game itself is just generally buggy, and on top of it all, the controls are unsatisfying. It's almost like EA forced the developers to rush this game out to make more money, or something. Well, let's go over the story mode. Some scientist guy makes a bunch of bad guys for fun and attacks New York. That's it. The Imperfects are just failed experiments of the bad guy. The robots are just robots, and really the only thing that happens is a lot of running around the same handful of locations smashing each other. Pretty uninspired.
The attackers! They seem to be coming out of nowhere! We've had unconfirmed reports that the Punisher is missing in action!
Wait, what? How can the Punisher be missing in action? That implies that his whereabouts were known in the first place. That's so dumb. What, does this news station have an active Punisher tracker segment every morning? Day 1058. Police have once again lost track of Frank Castle. It's almost like he has some sort of hidden base of operations or series of warehouses he hides in. However, we're confident we'll find him eventually, that rascal. In other news, it's been 15 years and we still don't know who Spider-Man is. More at 11. I'd say at least the first few missions have some production value to make them stick out, like there was thought put into level design early on. Once you've completed the first round of missions though, it just becomes a slog. Same few locations, rarely anything impressive, very limited characters to fight. After everyone runs around smashing each other and various robots, you get to the final boss and it's just this schmuck. Not as difficult to defeat as the flying drones, surprisingly. Those are a nightmare. Meh, overall pretty forgettable game. The title is more ironic than ever now. I get what they were going for and it had potential, but this is just kind of a boring mess. Hey there, subscribers and awesome people that are watching this video. I'm coming to you with no script right now because I wanted to sound a little bit more genuine and not quite as theatrical for this. But I'm sure as a lot of you know, YouTube is not quite the money-making platform it used to be. It's not quite as viable an option of a career field as it once was now with the way things are currently, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about it already. You don't need me to go into that, but as a result, just to help keep the channel afloat and help pay for expenses, since I'm also going to college right now and doing both is getting a little expensive. Very expensive. I've set up a Patreon, and you can head on down and donate if you have anything to send. We have a couple of reward tiers. You can view Contest of Slashers pages early. The first 2 pages of issue 1 are actually up right now, so if you want to go check that out, you can. There's going to be a couple of photos and videos of work-in-progress stuff for future videos, so you can see those as they come out. And you can even get special ranks in the Discord server. And $15 patrons can get to vote in polls on which videos I do next. So after Ultimate Alliance is out, we can all just kind of figure out which one everyone wants to see next. Thanks so much for supporting me throughout these years, and I love you all to death. You're all the bestest, and I can't thank you enough. And you know, if you have any money to toss my way, you know, it's greatly appreciated. Every little bit helps. But if you don't, that's great too, and thank you either way, because yeah, I mean, you watch the video, and that's enough for me. Thanks, everyone. Ultimate Alliance review coming soon, and also some gameplays in between. Look forward to those. Alright, bye.